Now the question is saying that you have to, on the axis, sketch the graph for each of the following function. The axes are even given, you have to sketch them. Remember, if you will have the graph of this type, y is equal to any constant value divided by x, your graph will look like this one. If you will sketch it in xy axis, so your graph will look like this one. You will just make a graph similar to that one. If you have y is equal to negative constant value divided by x, then your graph will look like this one. It will be in these two quadrants. You will make it similar to that one. Okay. So in this case, look at this one. This is y is equal to 2 over x, mean constant divided by x, positive value of constant, this type. So it means what will be your graph? The graph will look like this one. Simple. And if it will be like this type, we call them reciprocal function, okay? Then you will make a graph similar to this one. Pretty easy, yes? Okay, then next one. You have to sketch for this type. Now, for this type, again, remember two things. It may be of this type y is equal to constant to the power positive power, or it may be y is equal to constant to negative power. In that case, how the graph will look like. For example, if we have the constant to the positive power and the constant to the negative power, so how it will be accordingly. What the difference will be in both of these. For example, if you have of this type, then your graph will look like this one. From here, it will cross always at 1. The y-intercept will always be 1, and then after that it will look like this one. And as it will proceed, it will get closer and closer to the x-axis. But if the power is negative, then the graph will look like this one. Again, we'll cross at 1, y is equal to 1, but will now be on this side and will get closer to the positive side of the x-axis. Power is positive, it will get closer to the negative side of the x-axis. If the power is negative, it will get closer to the positive side. So in this case, what we have, the power is negative. So it means you can say this is y is equal to 1. So through this one, you will make on that side, and then accordingly, as you will move further, it will get closer to x-axis. That will be the sketch. So both of these two sketch you have to remember, and even these two sketch you also have to remember. This is sketching. Now, what is the word is use sketch? In sketch, you don't use the exact values, okay? You just show how it look like. So that's why this sketch you have to remember. That can be helpful to you. Okay. Now next one, question number 25. Find the x coordinate of the point on the graph of this one, where the gradient is 0. Now we remember very well that if the gradient is 0, for gradient 0, we put the derivative equal to 0. It means actually it is given the gradient 0 means the derivative is 0. So first find the derivative. That is given y is equal to x to the power 5 minus 5x to the power 4. So what we have to do here, first we need to get the derivative of that one. Instead of that, how do we find the derivative? The complete topic derivative we took. Whole power is the power rule will be applicable. For example, derivative of y will be dy over dx. It will be apply the power rule, bring the power down, and 1 minus from the power. It will be 5 minus 1. minus this constant, right, as it is, into apply the power rule on this one also. Bring the power down and 1 minus from the power. So what that will become? 5x to the power 4 minus, it will be 20x to the power 3. This is dy over dx. Now, as it is given in the question that the gradient is 0, so it means you will put the dy over dx derivative equal to 0. So what it will become? It will become, mean this value you will put equal to 0. 5 x to the power 4 minus 20x cube equal to 0. Then to solve this one, we know always we have to factorize, take the common. Common from them will be 5x cube. And whatever we take common, we have to divide this and this. When I will divide this, it will be only x minus this, divide by this, you will be left with 4 only, equal to 0. So now what are the possibilities? The possibilities are 5x cube will be equal to 0 because the product of two terms is 0. So I mean this will be 0 or this will be 0. X minus 4 will be equal to 0. So we will have x cube equal to 0 over 5 and then x cube will be 0. Take the cube root on both sides, x will be 0. And for this one, take 4 to the other side, x will be 0 plus 4, which is 4. So it means question was saying just find the x coordinates. No need to go for y. Sometimes you can be asked y also. So this value of x you will put here. So what are the x coordinates? It means the value of x are 0 or 4. These are the two values of x that you have to find. The detailed lesson about the differentiation. If you have any doubt, and then please must let me know. Okay. Clear? If it is clear, then we will move to our next question now. Okay. So always for finding the derivative, if it is given the gradient 0 means derivative, you will put first derivative equal to 0. And finally, then last question of this paper, it is Milk goes to a shop every, Malik goes to a shop every day to buy the bread. On any day, the probability that the Malik goes to the shop in the morning is 0.7. Mean write this probability of going on the morning. In morning, the probability of morning is 0.7. Okay, if he goes in the morning, the probability, if he goes in the morning, the probability that there is a bread for Malik to buy is 0.95. Okay, if he will go in the morning, the probability he will get the bread is 0.95. If he goes later, the probability that there is a bread for Malik to buy is 0.6. Calculate the probability that on one day there is a bread for Malik to buy. So in such situation, if you remember, we learned that it is always better to make the probability tree. Okay, we can make the probability tree, or we can do it without probability tree also. For example, if he is getting the probability that the Malik goes to the shop in the morning is 0.7, it means the probability of not going in the morning will be what? 1 minus 0.7, because we know that if for an event A, the probability of A we know is, so how we find the probability of not A? 1 minus the probability of A. So similarly, the probability of going in the morning, if it is 0.7, then probability of not going in the morning will be 1 minus 0.7. That will be 0.3. Okay. So now on that basis, it is given that if he will go to in the morning, so the probability that he will get the bread will be 0.95. And if he don't go, then the probability of getting the bread is 0.6. So it means there are two possibilities. But what can be? He can get the bread, go in morning, hmm, in morning and get bread. Or other option is go late and get bread. Now, if he goes in the morning, the probability is 0.7. So I will say 0.7. The word and is used. So multiply will get the bread. The probability of getting the bread in the morning is 0.95. Or for R we use plus late. The probability of getting, if he will be late, so in that case, we know the probability will be, the probability for the late mean not going in the morning is 0.3. So we will say 0.3 and multiply and then getting the bread. If going late and getting the bread is 0.6. So will be 0.6. Okay. So just calculate this one now. 0.7. I'll just make the calculation here. 0.7 multiply with 0.95 plus 0.3 multiply 0.6. So it will be 0.845. That will be. Again, it's given that he is going to buy the bread. So on any day that he can get the bread in the morning, the probability is 0.3. It means if he will be late, not in the morning, the probability will be 0.3 of getting the bread. Question is saying if he goes in the morning, the probability that there is a bread is 0.95. And if he goes late, the probability that he will get the bread is 0.6. So mean we have to calculate that he get the bread. Okay. So when he can get the bread? He goes in the morning and get bread, or he goes late and get bread. These are the two possibilities. Now, if he is going in the morning, the probability in the morning is 0.7, and for and we know we use multiplication. Getting the bread, the probability of getting the bread, that is 0.95 in the morning. Or for or we use plus. He is going late, mean for the late probability is 0.3 and get the bread. So getting the bread when he is late is 0.6. So we'll get that. Okay.